Good evening, guys. Yes, it's night. It's nighttime in my location, so sorry if it's already daytime in your location. And today we're gonna be watching a video. Why Ray isn't a Mary Sue character? Now, let me tell you something, pals. I'm indifferent now. Like, let me admit, Force Awakens and Last Jedi were really trash movies. Rise of Skywalker, however, was a very decent movie. Not gonna lie, it was a pretty good movie, right? Rise of Skywalker. Um, and why I'm saying this right now is because I don't want everybody to hammer me, telling me like, "Oh, you're just a bias." Blah blah. Nah. Just listen, right? Just listen. I'm gonna put this all the cards on the table, and I'm gonna tell you what Rise of Skywalker was. Rise of Skywalker was a not a great movie, but it was a good movie, right? How I say this? Why do I say this? They gave Kylo Ren some justice because remember, Kylo Ren supposedly has experience being a fucking Sith and a Jedi, and he got his ass beat by Rey, right, in the Force Awakens. But over here, gave him some justice and make him look like an experienced fighter, not some teenager with a tater tantrum, right? They actually gave made somewhat look how do I say this without offending people? Uh make Raid look like she has been working for her stuff, I guess you could say, because she's been working training under Leia. You know, we see her training and stuff. Her training regimen's a lot better than it was with Luke. I don't know why, but whatever, right? Um freaking and it is explained that Leia was fucking training under Luke Skywalker for a while, which makes sense because having someone as force sensitive as Leia being trained by Luke makes sense, right? It makes sense because why wouldn't you want to train Leia? She's in my point of view, I believe that Leia, if she actually took her training serious, like 100% Jedi training, she probably would have been one of the most OP Jedi in the entire Star Wars universe. Because she's probably more force sensitive than Luke. And we've seen it throughout throughout Star Wars, how force sensitive she is without Jedi training. Um, and it makes sense in her case than in Rey's because she's literally the daughter of the son of the literal force itself. Literally, because from what I know, is Anakin, right, doesn't have a father. It's basically the force created him, right, and he was born, which makes a lot of sense for Leia to be force sensitive without any Jedi training like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, so they gave Rey some justice, I guess you can say, and they gave Kylo some justice. Um, freaking Palpatine coming back, I don't think that was necessary. But hey, it took me by surprise realizing that Rey is a Palpatine, and that was a shocker. I thought she was a Kenobi. I was under the impression she would be a Kenobi, but no, she's a fucking Palpatine. Um, fucking Leia dying and freaking Chewbacca's reaction was on point. Like fuck, like Chewbacca has been through a lot. We gotta fucking admit it. Chewbacca has been through a lot. Not only did he lost Han Solo in one movie, he also lost Luke Skywalker in the next movie, and now he loses Leia. So it's like fuck, like he ain't having a great time. So uh yes, there was a lot of emotion and a good action as well. Freaking, there was these six guys that look very intimidated. They look like quote unquote royal guards or whatever, the dark royal guards. I don't know. I saw the movie in Spanish, okay? uh, so fucking these guys, they just look menacing as fucking having Kylo fucking pull out the lightsaber out of nowhere, like fucking like in the beginning of the movie, how he took out a fucking Ray's necklace, and like just pulling out the lightsaber like that and just kicking their asses. It was amazing. At that, it's disappointing we didn't see them too much in action because I would have loved to see how their tactics work because they look very intimidating. just like the Royal Red Guards. They're very intimidating, and they might be a force to be reckoned with. So hopefully we get to see how, like in comics at least, how they came to be and stuff like that. Um, Aside from that, her Kylo's and Rey's battle against Emperor Palpatine, it was amazing. I fucking loved it. There was a lot of an emotion and shit, and you know, fuck, it was amazing. What can I say? Uh I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it. I enjoyed Kylo's redemption because if you read comics, you would know that that little cave that Luke went in to face his quote unquote self, basically, his the dark side feeling. So I guess you could call it. Fucking, if you read the comic, you will know that Snoke brought him to that cave, and just to see if he's loyal and stuff like that, he's willing to go into the dark side and let go of his feelings, right? And he saw Han Solo and his mother, and he faked that he struck the images of his parents, but he didn't, right? So you in the comic you could kind of see how like freaking Kylo or Ben was struggling, trying to be with the dark side. He didn't want this, right? So him having and I already have prior knowledge to this, so like watching the movie and how his character changed, it made sense if you read the comic. So with that said, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. And fuck the critics. Anyways, let's go. Fucking why Ray is in the mayor suit? Yeah, you get a lot of hate for this.
Happy 2018! It may be a brand spanking new year, but thanks to the return of the Ray is a Mary Sue fanboy cry.
Oh, and this is an old video, so I just stumbled upon it actually. So let's give this chicken I don't know whose name. I don't really care. Let's give her a chance to talk.
It's like 2015 all over again. In case you missed it, which, if you did, please tell us where you were hiding so we can go to that fan-bro-free paradise. The Last Jedi caused a bit of a stir with a subsection of Star Wars fans. For those of you who may not exactly know what a Mary Sue is, it's a pejorative term used to describe an overly qualified female character in fiction. Here are some of our favorite arguments from some very passionate Padawans that were just so... we felt compelled to reply. Literal Mary Sue, female character having powers for the sake of a narrative. Rey is a nobody, but somehow has a connection to Luke's lightsaber, defeats the grandson of Darth Vader with zero training, basically trains herself in The Last Jedi, saves the day twice, hashtag not my Star Wars. Rey is a nobody, but somehow has a connection to Luke's lightsaber. Yes, you understood the plot of the movie. Also, everyone has powers for the sake of the narrative. It's a movie.
Okay, so this is the first. Oh, okay, sure. She looks like she wants to eat my soul. Okay, first of all, that comment is 100% correct. Why? Why is Rey? Why does Rey have a connection with Luke's lightsaber? No, it's not even Luke's lightsaber, actually. If you think of it really hard, it's not even Luke's lightsaber. Because it's a blue lightsaber, not a green lightsaber. That's actually Anakin's lightsaber. You get it, right? So it's like it became Luke's, then became Rey's. But it is Anakin's lightsaber, not Luke's. Well, it originally it belonged to Anakin. Why does she have a connection to it? It doesn't really make sense unless if Anakin was purposely using the Force to draw Rey towards the lightsaber. Then that would make sense. They should have like put that as a narrative, but they didn't. Also, like the way that she all of a sudden beat up Kylo Ren. First of all, Kylo's supposed to be experienced, have years of experience as a fucking uh in lightsaber duels, right? This is a guy like in comics. If you read comics, you know what Kylo has done and shit like that. Has conquered planets and has beaten like multiple people, like really bad, right? And he's very aggressive fighter. He's a very aggressive fighter and shows no mercy. And for some reason, he loses against Rey, who has no training at all, and somehow she trains herself, and she's proficient with the Force and lightsaber battle. It doesn't make sense, right? Because for instance, fucking Anakin, people will say he was a fucking Gary Stu and how he was portrayed, right? But if you think about it, he had his flaws. Well, later on, like Phantom Menace, they kind of like, yes, he's the chosen one, blah blah blah, and people kind of did not like that until like the Clone War, start of the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, that it was this his flaws were displayed, right? Yes, he is the chosen one. He is part of the prophecy, but he's not perfect. But here we got Ray. She's she doesn't really train at all, and fucking she's very proficient with the Force, proficient with a lightsaber, with little training, little to no training. And yes, that's the definition of a Mary Sue actually, because she didn't earn her skills; they were just given. While someone like Anakin, who's supposed to be the chosen one, the most OP character in the freaking franchise, had to work his ass off. Because remember, when he became Darth Vader, everything changed. He cannot use the same fighting style as he did, right? He had to reinvent his own fighting style, relearn the lightsaber forms because his body was now cybernetic. So Darth Vader was a force to be reckoned with. The same thing with fucking Darth Vader and Anakin. Both like they're the same person, but they're both different characters at the same time. They both had to work to get what they're at, right? So making that comparison to Ray doesn't seem like Ray did earn that stuff, right? Even Luke Skywalker had to train under. He has some training with Yoda, and kind of learned his lesson after fighting Vader as well, because he got his little arm off. Let's continue.
Wow, the worst rebuttal that Ray is a Mary Sue was from Daisy Ridley, where she said that the term is sexist. It's not. And Luke was also a Gary Sue. He wasn't. Luke Skywalker had 3 films to become a master. Ray was doing Jedi mind tricks from the first film. Hashtag Last Jedi awful.
True. True. And somehow she beat Kylo in a mind trick battle. Like, what the fuck? These comments are 100% correct. These comments are 100% correct. Like, they're hitting the nail on the coffin here. And they're pointing out strong points why she's a Mary Sue. Luke Skywalker, the son of the chosen one, right? The son of the guy who's literally the son of the Force, like the grandson of the Force, which is call him, right? Had to had to have some training in order to become a master. And even then, after like quote unquote defeating Vader, right? He wasn't really properly trained. He had to train over a couple of years after the defeat of Palpatine, right? After the Return of the Jedi, he had to train years later to become a Grand Master, and then he trained his own pupils. And yes, also if you count in the people who were survive Order 66, but that's beside the point, right? There's only a few handful of people that survive Order 66. Not a lot of people. Not a lot of people. But those who did actually help Luke rebuild the Jedi Order, at least a little for a while, until, Kylo went rogue and shit and killed everyone. That's beside the point, right?
That term is sexist. It's not. Okay, but it is, though. The term is based
Okay, so if Mary Sue is sexist, what about Gary Stu? Is that sexist?
on a character created by Paula Smith in her 1973 Star Trek parody, A Trekkie's Tale. Lieutenant Mary Sue was a satirized version of the often unrealistic female characters that popped up in Star Trek fanfiction. But today's use of the term isn't taking the piss out of hyper-capable female characters that only end up as romantic interest for the less skilled male leads, when we all know they should have actually been the heroes of the stories. Instead, calling a character a Mary Sue is essentially saying that they're little more than wish fulfillment. And it's a charge that's primarily hurled at female characters by male fans, as opposed to, say, calling all these guys Marty, Gary, or Larry Stu. And it's a charge that's primarily hurled at female characters by male fans as opposed to, say, calling all these.
Okay, first of all, Tony Stark. These are the worst comparisons she brought up. Like fucking. Let's start with Tony Stark. On the first surface, you could say he's a good suit, it's too, right? But you're wrong. You see, Tony had to actually build his stuff in a fucking cave, and they couldn't make it so that his first Iron Man suit was the most OP suit in freaking franchise. But like they gave the suit its flaws. It couldn't go too high because of freaking the cold temperatures of the atmosphere, right, and the pressure and stuff like that. So it fucking and then like the thing about his core having to change it every now and then. Those were the flaws of his suits, early suits that he upgraded over the years, trying to work the flaws of the suit, trying to make it faster, stronger, and all that stuff, right? Just little flaws about the suit, right? Freaking, especially the power source. The power source was a huge deal for him, and when he got an actual heart, he was no longer a risk, right? So yeah, and that's only the suit itself. He had problems too with alcohol, right? And we all know what happened during Iron Man 3 or no, Iron Man 2. What happened when he got drunk and inside an Iron Man suit, right? And freaking he has he has emotional problems too, especially during Civil War. How he couldn't control his anger against Bucky. He tried to kill him and shit like that. And he's not a perfect character. He's flawed, right? Uh, Batman, no matter what version of him you put, he has plenty of flaws. One that he doesn't trust anyone. And that's a bad thing because you need friends every now and then to help you out. And a lot of the situations he got himself into is because he denied fucking help from anybody. Um, we know he's not perfect at all, right? Um, Literally he had to train since since he was a kid to become the Batman. Like he trained for so many years, and then he came, and even then, like if you saw Batman Year One, you saw how he started off, like fucking literally almost dying his first night out. So, uh, yes, freaking Luke Skywalker again. He had to work for his powers because he didn't know Jack squat. Kenobi didn't train him at all. So that's another thing. Uh, Harry Potter, like he needs the sidecast to help him out. So all of these characters really work for what they have, right? And that's why they're lovable because they're relatable. They all have their flaws. They're not perfect.
Guys, Marty, Gary, or Larry Stews. I was one of those people who said Rey is Mary Sue, and I was demonized for it heavy. After this shitty film, there is no denying it. No way in hell can someone be a perfect Jedi with zero training. Hashtag The Last Jedi awful. I'm not entirely sure calling this film shitty is a sound argument. However, I agree. No way can someone with zero training be a perfect Jedi. Rey is Mary Sue in every sense of the word in this film. She has little to no training, yet can handle a lightsaber like a pro. She has amazing Force abilities, all because the plot calls for it. The Force is now a MacGuffin more so than ever. It can do whatever is required of it. Okay, so let me make sure we're all on the same page here. What these fans are saying is that it's completely unbelievable that this woman could have the Force, be strong with the Force, and be inexplicably good at various things with little to no training whatsoever. That no way her life on a barren, sandy planet would afford her the opportunity to be as...
She's comparing her to Luke. Luke had prior experience fixing, like freaking driving fucking ships and stuff. Luke trained with quote unquote Ben, well, slightly trained with Ben because as we saw him in the ship, he was doing the little simulation thing with a little droid shooting at him, and he was holding his lightsaber and he deflecting and shit. He was doing that, and then he trained with Yoda, right? Um, really, and he had prior knowledge. Well, not prior knowledge, but he kind of knew where to hit the Death Star from. Well, I don't know why she's comparing her to Luke, because Luke, literally, his first battle with Vader, he got his ass whooped. Let's be real. He got his ass whooped. And in the last battle, if Vader really wanted to kick his ass, he would have done that. Like, I've read comics, and I know how fucking Vader has freaking fought with people more experienced than Luke and beat them, like gave them a beat down. And you're telling me like Vader lost fair and square to Luke? No, Vader did not want to with the intention to kill Luke, right? He didn't want to kill Luke. So he didn't want to kill his own son. No. He wanted to rule the universe, yes, with his son, but he did not want to kill his son at all. He wanted to kill the emperor. There's a difference there. Yeah, right? Like that fight was fucking like he lost both battles. Well, he didn't, but like his second battle with Vader, it was literally given to him by the Vader himself. And everybody agrees with that. Like everybody with prior knowledge of Vader knows that shit. So like he's not a Garrus dude at all. Because he got his ass whooped every time. Most of the time.
Capable a pilot as she is. Or that someone who just found out they had the Force would be capable of using it to fight against the reincarnated Empire. And definitely not be able to wield a lightsaber in a battle against a far more experienced Sith with any success. Yeah, there's certainly no precedent for any of that. In a franchise that...
Literally, Luke lost his hand. And like in Force Awakens, like, I don't know how fucking Finn did not die. Like you're telling me lightsabers known for cutting limbs and known for doing one-shot kills on people did not kill someone who was hitting his spinal cord. You know, the thing that keeps you, like, helps you stand up and shit. Like, you're telling me that a lightsaber going through your spine is not gonna at least paralyze you. No, unless if that jacket was made out of a special polymer that is resistant to lightsabers, then, like, you know, I would accept it, but no, they did not emphasize about that, right? The shock baton, from what I read, well, it is made out of material that's resistant to lightsaber, right? So there are materials in Star Wars that can resist the strike of a lightsaber, certain metals. So that one stormtrooper fighting Finn, especially Finn. Why the fuck did Finn? How the fuck? Like, okay, so I get why how Finn will be able to use a lightsaber, right? Because he was quote unquote stormtrooper, so it is fair to say that he has some knowledge of how to use a lightsaber with since those stormtroopers have those shock batons of them, right? So it could be similar to that, right? And he quote unquote used that training to and applied it to a lightsaber, right? That prior training and use them for a lightsaber. Because I'm pretty sure stormtroopers are trained to use almost any weapon in the galaxy. Most likely, right? So Finn's quote unquote military training will help him out. Ray had no training at all in the Force Awakens, like no training at all, and she's fighting against fucking Kylo Ren. Yes, yeah. Let that sink in.
Gives us cannibalistic teddy bears, a giant slug gangster, a magical power that certain beings have due to midichlorians.
What are midichlorians?
Midichlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells.
Everybody hates this scene.
And this f***ing guy, the bone these guys have to pick is with Rey being good at things.
Don't pick on my boy Jar Jar. He's the real Sith Lord we've been looking for.
Fantasy requires a level of disbelief from the audience. That's why all of this stuff is totally okay. But when you decide that believing a female character being as capable as her male predecessor, never mind more so,
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
is taking things too far, maybe the problem you have isn't with the movie. It's with women. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have some important questions about the next Star Wars film, specifically related to Kylo Ren's fashion choices.
Really, this video was not anything about. It wasn't really informative at all. It was just attacking the fans, right? And judging fans. Really, that's what it is, right? Fucking Princess Leia. Again, we all love Princess Leia, right? Because she's not a dancer in distress. She literally a fucking. She's not afraid to fucking fight, right? And she has her flaws as well as a character, and she wasn't not perfect at all. She's not a perfect character, and that's why we love her because she's relatable. Fucking Ahsoka Tano. Like initially, people were like, "Oh, Anakin has a student, a Padawan." No, and and then like as the show went on, everybody loves Ahsoka, and because her character grew as the story went, the same way like we grew, right? She had her flaws. She was reckless and stuff, and she became more mature over time, and we grew towards with this character as well, right? And we associate Ahsoka with us, like, because a lot of us were like basically around her age, basically. We were all teenage. And most of the guys that I know were teenagers when we started watching fucking the Clone Wars TV show. So that's why we kind of relate with Ahsoka, because she had her flaws and she matured over time, learning from her mistakes. And I would totally love a movie about Ahsoka Tano, like especially during the years of Order 66. After Order 66, how she survived with Captain Rex and stuff. I would join. I would totally enjoy that one. Like anybody will tell you that they would prefer a movie about Ahsoka, like a solo movie about Ahsoka Tano, than watching another movie involving Grey. Let's be real here. Um, at least I would say Rey became a more likable character in Rise of the Skywalker, but I don't think anybody wants to see Rey again. So we should scratch her out of the picture, and her taking in the name Skywalker. Nah, like no, I don't think anybody like that. I was surprised when she's like, "I'm Rey Skywalker." No, no, you're not. You're not a Skywalker. Nah, don't lie to yourself. Also, what the fuck was Finn trying to tell her too? Like, I know Finn was gonna say that he has feelings for her. I know it. I know it. But they didn't go that way with the movie. So guess we'll never know. So I guess this is my reaction to this. Basically a load of bullshit. So like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.